I think we're live. Yes, we are.
Yes,
And
I think so too.
yeah, the bottle moved.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, I'm over here. There's the pooch.
Right.
There's the pooch. So we just did a show about 5 minutes ago, and I was trying to get you to come up with some good ways to counteract the crap that's happening to humanity and or the planet. And you got an idea after we stopped recording. So can you remember what that was?
Well, yeah, people have to get organized. Without the more people you have with the thinking the same way, you can bring about change.
So how do we do that? That's easy to say. Well, what are you going to do to get a group? You and I are similar thinkers. So now what?
Yeah.
Here's our group, and I've got open minds, and here's the rest of the 185 people that are in my group.
Yeah,
They're not here.
we need something like a couple of million, and that will.
It's not money.
What's that?
You're talking about money or a couple of million of people?
No, people.
People. Okay, so do you think we could
People.
garner 1 million people in the Inland Empire? That'd be over half the population.
Yes, it would be, wouldn't it? That's a hard thing to bring about, but I think over the United States, we've got 75 million that weren't exactly happy with this administration. So here we have a ready-made organization.
But how long has it been since the election? That was November.
Yeah, well, it's going to be 6 months.
Right, 6 months. We're still sitting here going, "Is there election fraud?" I mean, we're just twiddling our thumbs. Well, what has happened? Nobody's doing anything. Oh, let's see.
Supposedly, they're doing
attorneys
research.
are going after Arizona, and they're going after here and there, and it's
Well,
just
here again,
nothing.
there are forces out there that are stopping us
So-
going forward with all of this.
So, which force do you
So-
think is stopping us?
Well, we know the media will not print anything that's
Okay, so that's stopping.
one.
That's stopping truth. So,
Yeah,
isn't that
that's right.
once again to?
And then we have politicians that are filing suit against others that are trying to make things, doing a legitimate investigation. Say, oh, you can't do this. Look at what's happening in Arizona. A good example there in Maricopa County. They keep filing suits against them and they keep dropping that. And they say, all right, you can't do this. And if you use the machines that they say were corrupt, you can't use them again. So they took the machines and they're using that and doing an analysis to find out if these machines were compromised in any way. And now they say, oh, you can't bring them back online because you could have manipulated them. So we have to buy new machines now. And who's to know what was on there that you say is on there and it's not there? So
Once again, you just created a little bubble that we're all in because the propaganda media shoots in all these disgusting lies and concepts, and that's all. Everything you responded to is coming from the propaganda media, the
Right.
the Googles, the newspapers, the radios, the televisions, everybody who is not telling us the truth. So that, to
these
me,
people need to be
my
arrested.
turn. That needs to be the time and the place where we start. So, do we go down to Redlands newspaper and say, "Hey, I want you to start printing the real news and stop using the same phrase that is given to every news force every day, and this is your
Well, they're-
your little take and your agenda for the day"?
They're owned by the Los Angeles Times.
But that was a
that's who
question.
dictates
That was
their policy. Every little newspaper.
I just asked a question though.
Yeah.
Do we go down to the Redlands newspaper and tell them to stop doing it?
We could, but
But what?
what good would that do?
Well, that gets a little news story that only shows up on our channel.
That's right.
Okay, so I guess we're just screwed, folks. We can't figure out anything here. As long as
Go
the
with the sign.
propaganda, as long as well, what does the sign do? It's nothing.
The world is coming to an end.
Walking down the street with signs, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
The people are just laughing at us. They're going, "Look how easily we can control these ants. look, we can make them do this and go there. We can drop bombs over here and say it was this group. We can do that and this. It's just a big play. When are people going to stop going along with the play? Because we're slowly being corralled into the slaughterhouse. It's quite obvious.
If we do it through legislation, we have to have people in there that are willing to take that leap.
So you think you start with legislation before stopping propaganda news?
You've got to do that.
That was a yes or no.
Yes.
You start with trying to change legislation instead of stopping the false news.
I mean, no, that'll stop it.
No, it won't, because you have to deal with politicians and attorneys. You have to deal with the system.
All
You're
right.
still in the system that's corrupt. The only way you can stop it is for people to start hearing non-poison, for people to start hearing real news. If they start hearing real news, people what would happen if your daughter couldn't listen to CNN anymore?
There is no real news. There is no real journalism today. I have a degree in journalism, and we were taught never to print anything you couldn't verify. Boom.
I know.
Plain and simple. That's all.
Okay, we're getting back to the news again. It's all about the news. You mentioned earlier that Hitler used his propaganda machine to destroy Europe.
Of course.
Well, what is being done here?
Well,
Propaganda machine needs to be stopped.
Nothing is stopping him right now, and
I know. Do you agree with me that the propaganda machine needs to be stopped?
of course.
Okay, so let's come up with a solution on that. If you can't get the military to take over all the tops of all of these, put the people in jail until they can figure out some type of court case, or put them to military tribunals. Forget the courts. The courts are screwed. So you have to remove the people that are doing this. So now the military is sitting in at the head of all of our news corporations, and now the news is being delivered truthfully, and it's not anonymous, and it's sourced, and it has validity, and you can prove it.
You look at other countries.
So that's how we get past this. Now you already want to go off and look at other countries to say what?
Well, they have done that same thing, where they've taken out the leaders of the country. They had a coup, and they stopped all publications of anything except what they wanted to say. But of course, they were wrong in their situation.
We're still back to the propaganda. Got to stop the propaganda. And I'm talking about stopping it here in America, because this is the most important country left on earth. If we can't fix what's going on here, if we can't stop it, then the whole world is going to dive down into a deep, dark hole. We're the last bastion of freedom and common sense and rightfulness and liberty.
Well, I'm not going to advocate that
destroyed.
You blow up their buildings and the people in them in order to destroy that.
Who advocated that?
No, I said I'm not going to.
Who said it?
In foreign countries, foreign countries, they do that.
So we're not talking about foreign countries. We're talking about the United States.
I know.
So let's stay here.
But it could get out of control.
Let's just stay here.
All right.
Okay. So now we're going to go down to our local city and have a talk with the news editor. And we'll have him on tape, and we'll see if we can even interview him. Say, hey, what point are you going to start caring about the citizens of Redlands and your children? Do you want them to be brought up on all of these lies? Why are you promoting them? Why are you part of this? Are you compromised? Can you talk about this? Isn't that what investigative reporting is all about?
Should be. Yeah.
That is what investigative reporting is about, and you just agreed. So we need to start doing some investigative reporting. But to me, there's only one thing between us and the tyrannical governments, and those are the militaries of the world, excluding the United Nations, because they're out to take over the whole planet. So if we cannot get support from all of our militaries, especially Canada and America, I don't think we have a future.
I've tried investigative reporting. A lot of times you come and you ask somebody a question, they say no comment, because they're not about
Because
not
they're
about
afraid. They have no
going to
spine.
lose their job and say, well, this, and this.
No.
So a lot of them will say no comment, and I'll bet you anything we
They're
can
all
try
chickens.
that.
We're all chickens.
Yeah.
If you can't stand up for your belief because you're afraid you're going to get fired, then you're at the wrong freaking job.
Yeah.
And if you are going to stay there and lose your rights and your ability to speak and you go along with their game plan, you're not promoting more propaganda. You're promoting the cancer and the poison
That's
on
true.
the planet.
That's
So
true.
at some point, you have to stand up and say, okay, I'm going to take this stand and I'm not going to worry about the repercussions.
But people in Los Angeles, somebody has to do the same thing with all their newspapers. We can't go throughout the whole country and do the same thing. We can only do it on a local level. That's why you have to get organization of this whole idea and say, you have to go to your local newspaper and do this. Ask your editor, do this. Go to your TV station
Okay, so
and
I
try
guess
to
it's-
interview them.
Okay, so I guess you and I at some point this next week will go down with a camera and we'll set up an appointment and we'll see if we can get anything on tape. We'll see if we can get any response. So we'll see if we can start it. How's that?
Yeah.
Folks, can you see how disgustingly irritating and frustrating this is? Try to figure out what to do when it's so obvious. Every news source in this country has been directed to lie to us about everything. That's why up is down, left is right, good is bad, everything is upside down. That's why they're changing our language, changing the meaning of our words, changing our history. They want nothing of true, loving humanity, even Christian-based, to survive in this country. So we got to do something. And if you don't do it soon, it's going to be too late.
Yeah, I think that, if we take a written notice to the editors saying, these are the things that journalism is all about, and go back to the original journalism.
Okay.
And said, look,
Well, you
print
like-
nothing except the truth.
You like,
period.
you like the
Verify.
right. You like the right. You're a
Yeah,
writer.
yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, you start it, and I'll come in and throw in my
Right.
my
2 cents.
additions. So, okay, folks, here we are. At least you know what we look like now. This is Earthman Jim and Professor Lloyd, also known as Earthman and Professor. And this one here, this is
Snowball.
Snowball. Hello. Until next time.
Hang in there.